Kenya is really not just seeking a seat at the ICC. What Kenya is offering is leadership, is expertise, is a skill that I will ask the candidate herself to explain what it is that she is going to offer to ICC. And that is why we are not shy to offer our two jurists, because we have good candidates, and even those who people of faith, we believe that when you have a lamp that is shining and showing the light, you don't cover it under the bed. You bring it out to shine to the rest of the world. So this is also, like the Prime Cabinet has said, the Kenya judiciary has attracted a lot of positive energy from the African continent by the number of delegations we keep receiving to benchmark on us, but not just only in the continent, but all over the world. Sometimes they come and they knock at our doors. They want to see our judiciary, Kenya Judiciary Academy, and sometimes I'm like, which one? You know, they want to see our children's courts. They want to see our tribunals. They want to see how we are making justice accessible to the communities and how we are empowering the communities to resolve their own disputes. So we have a lot to showcase, and the Prime Cabinet, when we were just talking about judicial independence, I also celebrate Kenya, because Kenya as a country is resilient. It was able to withstand that, setting aside of the presidential election, the country still was able to arise from a crisis and severe conflict and recorrect itself and move on. There aren't many countries that are as resilient as Kenya, and I think this is something we need to showcase to the world, that we have such strong shock absorbers as a country that we can actually be trusted, because we even resolve our own disputes, we get out of conflicts. And I find Kenya is at this intersection now, where we are the bridge between the global south realities and the legal systems, and we have something absolutely to offer to the international community. So I'm very happy and grateful to His Excellency the President for nominating one of us to showcase the international community what we have in terms of top jurists in our country. So we are here to say we are ready to work, to be guided, because diplomacy is your forte, but to affirm that it is our collective duty to first of all internalize that we have these two jurists that we are offering, and the value that they are going to hand to the international community. Justice Njoki's profile is absolutely exceptional, and it cannot at all be differentiated, or just when she speaks about what she has done for the international community, for the African Union, and for the Supreme Court. We will all agree that we have to propel her to the next level, where she can contribute now to the international community, because she brings the rare breed of legislature, a jurist, an international human rights leader, UN Person of the Year, somebody who has interacted in the making of our constitution in the committee of experts. When I look at what we go through when we are making laws, and I look at how she easily was able to mobilize, and she became actually the architecture of the Sexual Offences Act, which deals or helps us now in the country deal with the serious issues of gender-based violence and sexual violence, and those are some of the crimes even before the ICC. What I can say is that she has demonstrated very strong jurisprudence, very strong on the processes of fair trial of the victims and the participation and criminal accountability. I think I'll just stop here and give her an opportunity to say something. But what I know is that we have to walk this journey together. His Excellency the President nominated her. Her name has been put forward. So we just have to work together so that whatever we require for this candidature to succeed, we always work together. I know resources will be required for this campaign, but we are people of faith and people who believe in ourselves, so this will not be difficult to get. But I also want to assure you that the judiciary is firmly behind our two candidates, the candidature of Professor Justice Okoa and the candidature of Lady Justice Njoki Ndung'u. We are carrying both candidatures with equal weight to ensure that even our state parties understand that Kenya is offering two candidates, which is a sign of a very deep commitment to the rules-based international order, and the uniqueness of each of these candidates must also be clearly elaborated and defended. I think the other day I gave the example of a mother who gives birth to twins. You nurture both. You don't kill one, you nurture both. So we have these great candidates, and for the first time, Kenya is looking forward to having judges in the world's most consequential courts, and that should make us very proud that for the very first time, Kenyan judges are going to fly our flags in these two courts. So I will give the opportunity to the judge to speak, and so that you can hear her. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, ambassadors, and the CRJ, and all of us in this room today. I think one of the things the country, I'm not a diplomat, but the diplomats often reflect on is, what is the purpose of candidates, and why do countries present certain individuals to certain positions? And I think in terms of policy and strategy, it's clear to me and to all of us that the ICC is a place where Kenya was once represented in terms of judgeship, and it is a place we ought to have representation as judge again. And why do I say so? I think Kenya must own our history from lobbying for the Rome Statute, from being signatories of the Rome Statute, our own experience as litigants before the court, and even now, the Kenyan experience has really changed the jurisprudence of the ICC. ICC, when it started, relied heavily, it's a hybrid system on civil and common law, but it relied very heavily on a lot of procedure from civil law. But because of the Kenyan cases, because of the concept of how common law democracies are run and our justice system, the procedure in the ICC has changed a lot. How they look at evidence, how they look at witnesses, how even the court processes themselves are conducted. And there's still a lot more that we have done in Kenyan judiciaries, which we ought to, through judicial diplomacy, share with international courts as well. But not just the issue of procedure and jurisprudence. The ICC is a court that also looks to victims. And how do we look after victims? Thus far, the ICC itself has looked at reparations, it looks at compensation to victims, but I think there's a lot that we can share from Kenya in terms of how we dealt with our own processes after the 2007 crisis. As a country, we reflected, we developed 4 agendas. 1, to investigate the election violence. 2, an investigation of what happened in the elections. 3, to be able to restructure and bring in constitutional reforms. And 4, just to look and say, how do we make sure we never go back there again? Creating institutions like the TGRC, looking at truth, justice, reconciliation. Looking at our institutions like the NCIC, which looks to make sure that we do not, we protect, we prevent ethnic hatred, hate speech. All these institutions, many countries do not have. Many countries that come out of conflict and war do not know how to restructure in such a way as to make sure that you prevent conflicts in the future. And those lessons, those experiences, we must share with the global community. It is our responsibility as part of the global village, as part of state parties to the ICC, to be able to share that. And I do believe that we can do this through this candidature. Your Excellency, I realized that many Kenyans know me as Supreme Court. Many Kenyans know me as the Member of Parliament who was the architect of the Sexual Offences Act. But many Kenyans maybe do not know my history before that. So before I came to Parliament, I was a political analyst in the Conflict Management Center at the African Union, then known as the OAU. And initially, I was in the Conflict Management Center, looking at early warning signs, trying to develop the AU strategy towards peace building, before I was moved into the Human Rights Division because of my expertise in human rights. And I dare say, Your Excellency, that the Maputo Protocol, the first draft that was ever discussed formally in the AU, came from my computer. And it gives me great joy to see that eventually it went through, the member states adopted it, and now it is a protocol to the African Union legislation for states. Before that, I also had the opportunity to work in the United Nations High Commission for Refugees as a protection officer. I was a national protection officer based here in Kenya, but dealing with refugee populations that were streaming in from Ethiopia, from Somalia, from Sudan, from Rwanda, from Burundi. In fact, there was a time Kenya we were, I think, hosting the largest refugee population possible. And looking into doing protection work, which means determining whether they are genuine refugees or in fact militias. Are these actually combatants? And some of the work I did then was to work with women who were victims or women who are refugees because they had special interests. And I do know that in the ICC, they do look at victims of violence, the issue of sexual and gender-based violence as part of war crimes is something that the court looks at. And therefore, Your Excellency, as I thank you for the nomination, I want to assure you that I will be a candidate that you can sell. I have experience, but also, even in terms of understanding statecraft, I will be able to follow the advice, particularly, and I'm so glad to see the key ambassadors here who I met on Saturday, my fellow sister and the ambassador to The Hague, my brother in Addis. I was telling him how I lived in Addis, so he was a bit surprised. But I was telling him how I would like to go back and see him there and engage in the African Union. And also my brother, Ambassador Munari, we also met and we had a chat. Also there is, I want to just let you know that there is Eva, who has actually helped me as the head of candidatures, and she helped me put my paperwork together, the translations together for the nominations to go to The Hague. And therefore, I am here. I'm a malleable candidate. I'm also hardworking. I don't know if you've seen the draft that we have tried to put together on the judicial side. We know that you will have to approve it, but it's just to say we are not waiting for you to do the hard work. We are also going to do our part. And I want to thank you very much for any support, for all the support you give me. And I will ensure that Kenya is well represented in the International Criminal Court. Thank you very much.
Wow. Njambi, you want to say something very quickly? I don't want to make this a very long session. Yeah.
Thank you, PCS, Chief Justice, and our candidate. Very well put. I was listening to you and I'm saying narrative, really positive, and not just positive, but leveraging on the comparative advantages that you have as a candidate in your experience, and then, of course, contextualizing it within our judicial system and how we have contributed. And I believe that is what many state parties would want to hear. And I do agree, and I believe everyone who's here, that we do have a very good candidate. And the fact that, His Excellency, the President and the Cabinet, as PCS has said, need that approval. So I'll quickly just say that the submission of Lady Justin Njoki's candidate was done on the 10th of March. So we're in a good place there. But we also understand that this has been extended to the 12th of April. For other candidates, we understand the number of candidates now are 15, with 8 actually coming from Africa. So it's a competitive space. I believe we are up to the task. We're in the process of forming an interministerial team, and with the guidance of PCS, the interministerial team will work under the principal secretary. It's composed of the judiciary, the legal office of the Attorney General, and the candidatures division, and the multilateral directorate. And then, of course, so it combines both the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs and also the judiciary system. I think what we'll then do now is work faster in terms of finalizing the interministerial team for purposes of pushing this, moving the campaign for the ICC candidature. We had, and I know we had this discussion around the official launch of the candidature. I believe the candidature has to be launched here. Then there is the official launch of the candidature in The Hague, which will definitely be informed also by the process that is ongoing, because there's a process within the ICC. So we need to just look at where the specific date of when to launch it. But we are looking at after the April, the 12th, probably May or June. I think that is an issue that the Interministerial Committee can agree on. But we also had you during, and I think PCS will speak to this in terms of us now proceeding to go ahead and launch the candidature. And then in terms of campaign material, a lot of work has already been done, as Lady Justice Njoki mentioned, including also putting together the aid memoir. The campaign materials, the aid memoir right now is in 4 languages, but we need to have that in 6 languages, including now Russian and Chinese. The reciprocal support arrangements, we have our colleague ambassadors, as you heard, from The Hague, from New York, and Addis Ababa. We see this as very core multilateral stations that will be key to the campaign for Lady Justice Njoki's candidature. And they will be part and parcel of working around the issue of reciprocals. One of the things, of course, we always say is we can get reciprocals from state parties, but the key thing will be to ensure that those who support our candidates do actually put in the vote, so because these elections are decided upon by secret ballot, with the elections happening between either the 7th or the 8th of December in New York. So we are really saying we have 8 months, or probably, 8 months within which we should do the campaign. But we really are saying by the time September is reaching, when we have we are going for the General Assembly, we should be going for the full crunch. Then we will also leverage on the presence of our ambassadors in over the 70 stations all over the world. And then, of course, we'll also be engaging the diplomatic corps here in Nairobi, who are more than about 100 missions. But then, of course, we'll be zeroing in on the state parties. So there will be a lot of engagements. One of the ways that we are proposing is that we utilize the virtual platform, especially in Lady Justice Njoki introducing herself to our ambassadors, because so that they know the product that we are we are campaigning for, and in line with the previous what we've been doing previously, a constant checking in on where are we at. There will have to be a lot of analysis to be done, and also intel sharing. And our missions will play a key role in that. And then, of course, as the Chief Justice, you spoke to very strongly. We have 2 very qualified jurists, and we must make sure that the campaign for the 2. We work on that both in a strategic manner, but to make sure that when it comes to the final vote, that we get the votes for the two candidates. I think we've had the conversation around leveraging on the high-level meetings that, for example, His Excellency the President and the Prime Cabinet Secretary would be making, and then, of course, the Chief Justice in terms of the outreach, the judicial outreach, and we will work together as the team in order to ensure that we work in synergy. And, of course, we have a good candidate who, as she has said, she's ready, and she's ready to get her hands into this process, and we have seen that. Yeah. Thank you, PCS. We now wait for your further guidance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chief Justice. I think it's all clear. Justice Njoki Ndung'u is our candidate as Kenyans, as the government of Kenya and as the people of Kenya, for the position of ICC judge. 2026 to 2035. So the message here is that there is no other signal. That is the only signal that we are giving to indicate that it's all systems go and we should not hold back on this issue. In whatever way, we are now all aligned. The executive is aligned, led by the president. The judiciary is aligned on this one, led by the Chief Justice. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is aligned as the ministry that takes the lead in matters of this nature. So we are all aligned and we should all work towards that. The committee will be finalized and it will be chaired by the Principal Secretary, Foreign Affairs. And the ministries were represented here, as you have heard. So that is aligned. It will be a joint committee. The judiciary will have its team members and the foreign ministry will have its team members. And after that, we simply say we have one team, and that is the Kenyan team. So the details of it will be worked out by our experts as we move forward. I just want to reassure you, Madam Chief Justice and Justice Njoki, that we will lend you all our support. Our commitment is there, and we'll work together, consult closely. And I want to appeal to the Kenyans that this is a Kenyan candidate. We should all be united. And I would like to really appeal to the Kenyans, because we have been through certain experiences that when you have one of your own stepping forward for such a significant international assignment, we should all be united. Kenyans, as much as we have the freedom to speak and do what we can do within the confines of the Constitution, let us not shoot ourselves in the foot. Let us, as Kenyans, express our commitment to patriotism by supporting the candidature without any reservations. And this goes to all my friends in terms of the media, in terms of the politicians and so forth. This is not, it's not the time to try and play political games or intrigue in matters of this nature. Let us all be focused in presenting a strong, credible candidate to the international community. So I think I'll end there for now, and we'll wait for the details, and we'll roll out systematically. And we have a very short time. Sometimes it may look like it's long. 8 months is very short. When you're looking at it in the context of not campaigning on the local turf, but campaigning globally, 8 months is a very, very short time. So we need to really pull together and work as a united team. So I think that's all I can say. And to once again thank you, Madam Chief Justice. And I will request that you have the last word on this matter, and then we can adjourn. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you once again, our Prime Cabinet Secretary,